Is going on, guys? How y'all doing here? This is a midnight stream with the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here live for my live preview and predictions for NXT TakeOver War Games for 2020. Sorry this is late. I did watch SmackDown, but I didn't really pay attention too well because unfortunately I was distracted by my brand new phone, as I officially have gone from the iPhone 6 to the iPhone 11. So I was distracted by that, but all's good. I'm going to come up here for a few minutes and talk about my preview and predictions for the final NXT TakeOver of 2020. Obviously, again, takeovers this year weren't as strong. Takeover Portland, though, at the beginning of the year, of course, the audience definitely was a pay-per-view of the year contender. Definitely one of the stronger takeovers of all time. If it wasn't for the pandemic, probably would have had maybe some better ones. But, NXT continues just to do its best it can during the pandemic right now, even though, once again, they've lost the Wednesday Night Wars to AEW. No doubt about it. Oh, but I think this should still be a fun show. I think it'll be like a fun, not gonna bring any big monumental moments I feel like will be happening in this show. It's gonna be just a solid pay-per-view game. I have a little bit higher expectations than I did from TakeOver 31 because it's War Games. But I don't expect this to be one of the best pay-per-views, in NXT TakeOver history. But it's still going to be good. And that's the good thing about NXT. You can always at least expect a good show to sit through and watch. I mean, yes, again, there may be a little bit of a dip in quality, but again, it's still not completely high. It's still going to be fun. So that's how I'm going to look at this show. It's going to be a fun wrestling show. My predictions, though, were a little bit tricky to do. Obviously, some of these matches, especially the women's War Games match, I still feel is going to kind of, veer a little bit away from, what the main story going into the match is. And kind of set up for possibly the person to dethrone the NXT Women's Champion. We have a triple threat match for the North American Championship match. We have a strap match. It's just for, for shits and giggles. We have another singles match with Thatcher and Ciampa. I think it's gonna be a very good match. And of course the men's War Games match as well. That's gonna go either way, I still feel. We'll have to wait and see, of course, though. So without further ado, let's get rolling into this preview and predictions. We have just JR in the live chat saying, sorry you missed my NXT review. No worries, man. So yeah, this card has this show has 5 matches on the card. I was a little bit surprised. Usually most War Games shows usually only have 4. Since there's, of course, 2 War Games matches, but that's 5. So obviously, there's probably 2 matches. I don't expect to go on too long, probably. I mean, going to be still given the time, but I don't think it's going to be that long of matches, which is probably the strap match and the match with Thatcher and Ciampa. Maybe the triple threat match, I'm not too sure. But obviously, of course, those War Games matches, they're going to get a lot of time, as I hope so. But without further ado, again, let's roll into it. Again, the first match to kick off the show, I am predicting, is the women's War Games match. It's Team Shotzi for Shotzi Blackheart. She's the captain, along with the NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley. Io Shirai, Rhea Ripley is part of the women's team, even though she's not the women's champion right now. And of course, former NXT Women's Champion Ember Moon, who this is her first takeover match since returning to NXT after her injury. And then, of course, we have Team Candice LeRae. It'll be Candice LeRae, Toni Storm, who recently turned heel, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. So, this is going to be a weird prediction, because really the reason why this match came about was it started with the whole idea of Candice LeRae driving over Shotzi Blackheart's tank. and how Shotzi, in revenge for Shotzi screwing her at Halloween Havoc in the women's title match that was tables, ladders, and scares, or basically a TLC match, which was a watered down TLC match, but it was still a good match. Between Io and Candice, I be Candice. And if it was this kind of match, I be Candice. I'm sorry, Io. But it's just weird because I don't think the whole the outcome of this match is going to be based off of Shotzi and Candice though. And a lot of people, this been a question's been going around here. A lot of people are saying they still don't get Shotzi. I kind of see why. And again, my thing is, I think Shotzi Blackheart is great. I think she's still, growing on people, but I still think she's unique for the women's division. I think she's been established as the female Jeff Hardy, or even a female Darby Allin, just a daredevil type woman. Kind of different from what we get from most women, in wrestling today. I feel like that style, that mystique and character of hers, I feel like is different. The problem is I feel like they've kind of given Shotzi maybe a slight bit of a of an overpush. I mean, yes, she hasn't won a title yet, that's for sure. But they kind of already made you feel like you should think this woman's a big deal already. And I think that's why some people just still don't get Shotzi. So I understand. I don't think she thinks she's great. But I also kind of find it a little bit weird that the NXT Women's Champion's kind of taking a little bit of a back seat in this match. I find that just a little bit strange. The teams, though, are still stacked. Again, we got the upcomers covering Shotzi, the two women who are experienced inside War Games, Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley, who were in last year's first ever women's War Games match, and Ember Moon, who we all know is just awesome in the ring, that she just didn't get booked right on the main roster, and she's going to gel in really well and definitely deserves an opportunity like this. And then for the heels, there's, of course, Candice LeRae, who I feel like, even though she probably could have had the women's title by now, I still make her still feel a little bit relevant and make her still feel, interesting in her heel character. Toni Storm, who just turned heel, as I predict when she'd come back. And then, of course, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, who's been a pretty good duo. And they're both pretty good. So I think this is still going to be a very fun women's War Games match. I don't think it's going to be quite as good as last year's, though. I don't think the drama that we got last year's War Games match is going to be as, it's not going to be there. It's still going to be just a fun, typical wrestling match. But I think the drama is going to be a little bit less. The heels, of course, are going to have the advantage. I'm sorry. Team Shotzi, the baby faces, they have the advantage as they won in the ladder match this week to earn the advantage. As Shotzi defeated Raquel Gonzalez. And obviously, with that being said, though, probably Indy Hartwell is going to get involved in this match. If, it's going to be, the babyfaces having a one-up advantage, I think we're going to see Indy Hartwell at some point get involved. Kind of the story was that, the babyfaces dominate most of the match, but at the last second, the heels pull something out of their sleeve, and they pull, just a little bit of a swerve on us, and they'll get the win. And I think Team Candice, because of that, I think Team Candice is going to get the win. But I think this is going to lead to Toni Storm, who probably has, the freshest character out of all these women, with her recent heel turn, and with her return as well, and of course how awesome Toni Storm is. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Toni Storm dethroning Io Shirai of the NXT Women's Championship. So I'm going to say Toni Storm pins Io Shirai in War Games. I think that's how it's going to go down. I mean, again, it's just weird because, yes, the story was based off of, again, Candice LeRae destroying Shotzi Blackheart's tank and getting revenge for costing her women's title match at Halloween Havoc. But I think we're going to veer away from that and have Toni Storm get the pinfall victory by pinning, again, probably Io herself. We could see the match, in January or so. Io Shirai and Toni Storm, of course, a rematch from the last Mae Young Classic, in which Toni Storm won by defeating Io Shirai in the finals at Revolution. So, I'm going to pick Toni, getting the pin, and Team Candice LeRae will win the second ever Women's War Games match. Should be pretty good. Don't expect to be good as last year's, but it's still going to be pretty good, I think. So that's my prediction for the opening match. The second match is going to be the one-on-one match between Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. These guys are both supposed to be heels, even though they've kind of started booking Ciampa as a face again. Still can't quite tell. But like I said before, this is kind of like a very simple mind games versus submission specialist, storyline. With, obviously, both of these guys, strengths are being exposed in the build for this match. Timothy Thatcher being the smart submission specialist, and his Thatch Can school thing has definitely made him really, solidify his character as being a guy who's just the king of submissions. And then there's Tommaso Ciampa, who we all know how awesome he is as, as a Sicilian psychopath, or just him flat out playing the mind games that he's just a master at. And I think it would work very well to kind of tell a simple story of like, okay, Timothy Thatcher, is able to, put anyone away with his submissions, but, he's not faced anyone yet like Tommaso Ciampa, who is just a brutal mind game, king, and, it'll get into the head of Timothy Thatcher much different than, anyone else is able to so far. So I think this is going to be a good match with, again, two good mix of styles. Who do I see winning, though? I think Thatcher should win this. Again, he lost his previous TakeOver match against Finn Balor at TakeOver 31. And I truthfully think that, any big opportunities he's had so far, he hasn't really won yet. So I think, if they can give him a victory to kind of give him some momentum as a single star, I think he should do so right now. So, yeah, I got Thatcher. I got Thatcher defeating Ciampa, probably by submission or some sorts. And we'll just wait and see. So, should be a good match. I'm picking Thatcher to win this one. Match number 3 is our only title match of the show. And it's a triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship. It's Leon Ruff versus Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano. We all know, of course, my thoughts on this. Again, this is the perfect underdog story. A perfect way to establish a new underdog. Basically, James Ellsworth, except much more, realistic and is actually believable because Leon Ruff is actually a pretty good wrestler, I think. And with Damian Priest obviously trying to get to the head of Johnny Gargano, as Johnny got another opportunity for the North American Championship. How, I still do not know, because he had lost his previous 3 attempts at the North American title. One to Keith Lee at TakeOver in your house. Another in the triple threat match right before Keith Lee had won the title for title match against Adam Cole. And then, of course, actually, no, he's had that one. He's had 4 opportunities. Well, probably more than that. But then we had the first one. Well, several. He's had several. Even the ladder match at TakeOver 30. TakeOver 31, he faced Priest one-on-one and lost. He beat Priest at Halloween Havoc with the help of Ghostface. And then, of course, he lost it to Leon Ruff. And like I said, Leon Ruff is a great underdog storyline character. But as I keep saying, of course, is the problem is the heel of this feud, Johnny Gargano, is continuing to be made more like an absolute stinking joke. And I've ranted about it how many times, but again, Johnny Gargano, I just still don't get, how can you take Johnny Gargano from being one of the biggest baby faces in your company to making him from that to one of the most unsuccessful heels I have ever seen booked. Like, the guy literally has not... Literally, the phrase that Big Cass said a few years ago, how your mouth writes checks that your ass can't cash, that's exactly what's happened to Johnny Gargano. And that's not how Johnny Gargano should be. Johnny Gargano should not be losing all of his opportunities and looking like he literally has no clue, what he's doing. Like, he's just in a rut. And again, I'm sorry, but he is not the right heel to, make Leon Ruff look like a star, because it's just hurting Johnny in the long run, hurting his credibility even more, I feel like. So, as much as I would love to see Leon Ruff retain the championship, make that really great underdog story capitalized by having him beat both Priest and Gargano, I still think Johnny needs the title back. And with them teasing not one, two more ghost faces, and I think it's so cliche and hokey, even though Indy Hartwell was revealed as one of the ghost faces. Obviously there's one or two more, but we don't know who they're going to be. But I think because of them, it will help Johnny win back the North American Championship, as he should. If like a broken record saying that, Johnny needs this win, and he keeps losing. And before it was like, okay, he's an underdog and babyface, but now it's like he's a malicious heel who should be getting victories to keep his credibility there, but it's just still not working to me. So, I'm going to say Johnny wins back the North American Championship from Leon Ruff. And we will go from there. So that's match number 3. Match number 4 is a strap match with Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes. Yeehaw! To the moon! As Cameron Grimes always says. This feud's been fine. This has been solid. It's not one to really light up the whole world on fire. It's just, a creepy guy like Dexter Lumis just getting to the head and finally, shut down, bring down, the weaknesses and the fears of Cameron Grimes, who just runs his mouth. So, you've already had one match, the Halloween House match, whatever it was called, better than, of course, the House of Horrors match at Payback in 2017, but, wasn't going to go with this. But I feel like the results are going to be no different. This is still going to be a pretty solid strap match. I don't expect it to be one of the best strap matches I've seen. I expect it to be like, Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt strap match caliber like it was at the Royal Rumble earlier this year. But I still expect it to be good with, the creepy character of Loomis still playing in and just really getting to the head of Cameron Grimes. And I think Dexter Lumis will come away with the victory here in this strap match. Of course, we've seen him in another strap match back, I think, at the Great American Bash against Roderick Strong when Lumis and Strong feuded. So, we'll wait and see. So, Lumis wins here. And then, to me, the toughest match to predict. The main event is the men's War Games match between Undisputed Era's Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong, taking on the team of, Pat McAfee called themselves the Kings of NXT. Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burch in the men's War Games match. So, of course, this is the 4th War Games match, and out of all 4 of them, the Undisputed Era have been in 4. And that includes Roderick Strong whenever he was in the first War Games match, teaming up with the Authors of Pain. Obviously, Pat McAfee has been walking all over WWE and NXT, acting like, anybody can do this sport. And, again, I usually hate, when they bring, celebrities to kind of, act like they think they know what they're doing, but they really don't. But, truth be told, I really think Pat McAfee's played that role well. because he actually can cut a promo. He actually can wrestle. If this was before NXT TakeOver 30, I wouldn't be having the highest expectations for this. It has gone a little bit long, maybe, but he continues to attack the Undisputed Era. Now, I'm not sure if it was the plan all along to bring in Pete Dunne, because originally it looked like it was supposed to be Ridge Holland being a part of Pat McAfee's stable, but of course Ridge Holland got hurt when he caught Oney Lorcan, so that unfortunately changed things there. But still, Pete Dunne's a great addition with how silent and deadly he is. Of course, this man barely talks, but the few times he does, he says great shit. And the Undisputed Era, of course, who are baby faces, and this is their match. They won the first ever War Games match. They've been in all the other two ever since. As far as who wins this, though, well, again, the heels have the advantage. I think it should be a great match. Wait, I'm still even wondering if I made the right choice here. Let me think here. All those. 4 there. I don't know. The thing is I feel it should be the Undisputed Era. That's the easy pick I would go with. But part of me kind of wants to pick Pat McAfee's team. Pat McAfee lost his debut match against Adam Cole at TakeOver 30. And, of course, only thing he's really done since is held Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch win the tag titles. And, of course, he'll probably help Pete Dunne last week, even though he's not going to admit that it was him. But that is that. Part of me's kind of leaning a little more towards Pat McAfee's team. Because I feel like, if the Undisputed Era just win, then, what's next for them? I don't think it's the right time you have to break them up. I mean, I said, when you break up the Undisputed Era, it has to be exactly how the Shield broke up. Have them going out on their highest note. And, honestly, they haven't really done a heck of a lot. But for the past few months, ever since Adam Cole dropped the championship, it doesn't really feel like that. Undisputed Era haven't really hit their high note yet, of course, as baby faces. So I would still keep them together for a few more months, try to start teasing a little bit more, which I think the best course of action to do is to have Pat McAfee's team win, and there'd be some type of glitch between the team, some type of crack that's shown as beginning to form. That's what I think should happen, and again, it would lead to some interesting, TV, and the suspense would be there and whatnot. Again, so obviously, if you just had the Undisputed Era win and that's it, it's okay, it's there was no big anticlimactic ending. It was they won one match, basically, as it looked like. It wasn't the Shield, who would freaking clean sweep Evolution just for Seth Rollins to turn on them. So that's kind of my thoughts behind it. Again, I would pick the Era, but I kind of think Pat McAfee's team would benefit more, and it would definitely, have sent the Undisputed Era to a very different but interesting direction. So we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, those are my predictions, guys, for this show. Again, the Women's War Games match, I have Toni Storm pinning Io Shirai to become number 1 contender. Timothy Thatcher over Tommaso Ciampa. I have Johnny Gargano win the title, North American title back, thanks to help from the 2 Ghostface monsters that are still stupid to me. Dexter Lumis will defeat Cameron Grimes in a strap match, and then I think Team Pat McAfee, or Kings of NXT, will win the Men's War Games match. And with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for these live predictions. Again, I'll be live sometime in the morning to do my SmackDown review, and of course Sunday's my NXT TakeOver War Games 4 review, hopefully, if I'm not too tired. So that's going to do it, guys. Again, what are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe and comment my channel, follow me on Twitter at DemandAir193. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'm tired. Have a great night. Peace out, everybody.